Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joy Singh. Joyce, we had such a busy week of news, and we're also going to read a ton of emails. But we're going to start with a new Oscar entry, fresh, sort of fresh onto the scene.
Not really that fresh, just very kind of late.
Premiered at Venice, talking about, of course, the biggest movie of the year, Memory.
Yeah, Memory is gonna be distributed by Catch Up Entertainment in December.
Not to besmirch the great Catch of Entertainment, I have to say this is the first time I've heard of this group, but I'm excited they're putting out Memory, which got great reviews at Venice Film Festival. When you're watching this and you're like, what the hell is that you're talking about? And you Google it, and it's a tough one to Google because the SEO for Memory, I'd imagine, is not going to
Bad SEO,
track.
just like I'm thinking about next year with Yorgos Lanthimos' next film, and
And tough beat.
yeah,
This is
some of these titles, man.
the one with Peter Sarsgaard and Jessica Chastain.
Yeah, and Peter Sarsgaard won the Volpe Cup.
And we get to say Volpe Cup again. We're going to say it many
Again.
times because we're going to talk about Priscilla in a little bit too. Love the saying Volpe Cup. It's like my favorite thing. Volpe Cup.
Yeah, he won Best Actor, but for award season, he'll be campaigning in supporting. A
Yes.
lot of emails like late Friday about this.
Many different groups are representing this
Yeah,
movie
a lot of firms working on it. So
and the THR exclusive. So if you are a journalist and you get these press releases and then also the blasts from the trades, you got about 4 different
yeah,
emails
and
on
then you
Friday
check
night.
like, Twitter and like, multiple tweets about it. So
I'm excited to see it. I actually have a personal connection to the movie slightly because one of my friends, whose his children are actors, and his daughter has a small part in the movie. He said,
is this the same friend with the kid in Armageddon Time?
"Sure is." And so she is gonna. I don't know what she plays in the movie or what, but she's in it, very small part. But they were very excited that it got a distribution. It's coming out in December. Uh, I got just from reading the way it was presented and this whole thing, it feels like they're angling for the Peter Sarsgaard as Andrea Riseborough this award season. Did you get that sense?
Yeah, I do think like they want to capitalize on his Volpe Cup win.
Got the Volpe Cup, a beloved actor who I think has worked with a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people and is usually great in all his movies and has never been Oscar nominated here with a chance in a supporting actor category that technically probably has one spot that's open at the moment, right? I mean, there's 5
Yeah.
spots open, but we all think there's 4 that are pretty set.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't know if I mean, I haven't seen a movie, but I don't know if he will get in this year, but I do feel like exactly like you said, he is the type of actor like once he gets uh, a strong, proper vehicle, like he could get in first time and just win, you know?
Yeah. Well, do you think then he could, like, let me ask, like, this is wacky, but like he could get in, I think, for this if there's like 200 actors who really love him, right? As like a performer, and the movie is great, or he's great in the movie. Do you think he would win this year against this stack competition if he got in?
I mean, I haven't seen
I
the
haven't seen it.
performance, so I'm not gonna judge the quality, but we all know it's not about the quality only.
Right.
I feel like he would need like to sweep, and I don't think he would necessarily get in at other places. Like he would probably be a lone nominee if it works out.
Yes.
So that's like another thing.
It kind of, again, not to, it reminds me both of Andrea Riseborough and a little Brian Tyree Henry from last year, in a small movie that's like a
And they did
character
not
drama.
win. So
They did not win, but they
it
got
would
in.
it would need to be like a sweep like Christopher Plummer for beginners.
Right. But that I felt like had a more of a runway.
Yeah, because that we knew that was happening and he
Right.
got in everywhere and won everything. So
But I love when a movie gets, I felt like my thing on a lot of these festival movies, and I'm not going to name names, but certain ones this year I think failed to do this. When they don't have distribution and they come in like a house on fire with the reviews, or they win like awards and then they are picked up and then not released in the year that they premiered at the festivals, it feels like you missed your window, maybe.
are you trying to call out Hitman?
I'm not mentioning anything by name. Nothing at all. But this movie got
I
great.
mean, like I understand because it's like if you're taking a look at the field and if it's just so stacked, especially in a category you're aiming for, you know, you
Yeah.
might maybe you're thinking, especially with like the strikes and everything. So maybe you're thinking, a more open field next year, you have a better chance next year. So
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Very fair.
but like I think, coming off his win there, and yeah, and then obviously Jess, she would be in lead. So another entry into that stacked field.
Feels too crowded. Lead is too crowded, Joyce.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to put her in there, but I might toy with putting Peter Sarsgaard in there. At least in my head, without having not even seen it, I feel like he's in the 5 to 10 range.
Like I'm telling you, like if he's in a top 3 contender,
yeah,
like I think he could just get in and win on his first nomination.
Right. So that's great. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I wasn't even
thinking
it's
a great cast, like Mary Weaver, Josh Charles, Elsie Fisher. So,
and it sounds like kind of the shattering awards drama that is made for awards, I guess.
Very, like low budge. One of the talking points is, Jessica did her own makeup and everything, or like very little makeup, and it was like she bought her own clothes. So, and it's about these 2 old high school classmates, and they went to their reunion, and Peter's character follows her Jessica home one night, and then they, secrets come out and everything.
Yes.
A lot of trauma,
a lot of health issues, it seems, right, as well in the movie. Yes. So you could read the reviews. We got yelled at. Sometimes people yell at us for spoilers. We haven't even seen it, so there's nothing to spoil. But
there's nothing to spoil. It's just a plot line. A plot line is not a spoiler.
We have an email later from our good pal Tim, who wrote in about our spoiler.
Oh, good. Can't wait to hear that. So.
He was pro us. The YouTube comments, Joyce, which I know you didn't read, not as pro us, I would say, for this.
YouTube is very much like anti every kind of information there is.
Yeah.
So
that's memory. The other thing was, what else do we want to say? A couple of movies this week that are out that people could watch that we've been talking about.
Well, in mass, one in particular, it's already been out.
Yeah, it's been out, but it's been out in very limited, I would say. As someone who's been trying to see The Killer in theaters, that it's still very limited when the Netflix movies are in theaters.
You just go back to the Paris.
Well, it's not even. Here's the funny thing: The Killer is only in the Paris, even though it's not on Netflix until November 10th. It's only in the Paris until Thursday.
Yeah, because they have to vacate it because it was just like a week. Yeah,
but it's still playing at the Alamo Drafthouse, which is where I will have to see it, which is fine. Love that establishment as well. We're talking about Nyad, Joyce, not The Killer. Nyad is on Netflix this week. I already told my parents to watch it.
Do you think they'll enjoy it?
I think they will. I think it's a great movie for older people.
It is.
It's an entire movie about how old people shouldn't be thrown aside.
Yeah, why? Like, don't be ageist.
Yeah.
So, and inspirational. It's a very like a pretty standard like sports inspo pick.
It is an old-fashioned crowd pleaser that people will watch on their couch.
And the performances are great. Like I loved Jodie Foster in this, and Annette Bening is really good. And as you could Google all this stuff about Diana Nyad if you don't know already. So not going to get into that. But she's not the most quote unquote likable character, as we know, or personality. Has been embroiled in some controversies over here as recently as last year, and just released an apology a couple weeks ago just to get ahead of the game, and what I liked about the movie is like they're not afraid to make Diana like the butt of the joke and like call out her bullshit, and neither is Annette in her performance. Like they're not trying to like lionize this person, and it's very much about her ambition. And like you see this a lot just in athletes in general, like they just have this laser focus, this one goal, and then how that affects the people in their orbit, like their support group. And that's Jodie's character, who's her best friend. And the other thing I really like about this movie is like these 2 characters are older women, lesbians, and it's a portrait of a platonic relationship between them. Like there's nothing romantic, and you see this really deep connection and love between them, but it's entirely platonic, and you see how they're there for each other, and I really like that. So it's a nice film.
couldn't agree with you more. When I saw it at Telluride, I was like, it's fine, it's good, and it played well in the crowd. And I was like, this actually could get in a week if 8, 9, and 10 is like weak, it could get in as a dark horse like Best Picture nominee. I felt like because I think they already the ether or whatever, like you said, Diana Naya, and is an imperfect vessel, right? Like she has like a lot of controversies, and even amid her like achievements, the thing that's great about the movie is they're not lionizing her, exactly like you said. So it kind of like lessens the outrage about her as a character, because the movie is not like a hagiography about her. It's actually like she was kind of a dick. And really, if she didn't have the
she treated the
support,
people who helped her like a dick.
and if she didn't have those people and to support her, and that's like she literally says this towards the end of the movie. This is a spoiler, I guess, if you're thinking like, again,
but also like real
this
life.
historical real life thing could be a spoiler. But her thing at the end of the movie is like, you know, I couldn't have done it without all the people who helped me, basically. And that's like it. So that's, in theory, I think that really neutralizes a lot of like, I think in a normal, if it was a rousing biopic and there was that LA Times feature about Diana Nyad that was like, she's actually not great and here's why, and all these alleged things, it would have been like, the movie is shot. But it really didn't matter because she's played in the movie like that. And, you know, I think if you told, I don't even know, we don't need to, like you said, we don't need to go into it, but I was like, or like the specifics of it. But I think one of the things is that has dogged her throughout time is that she didn't it was not officially, the way she completed this swim from Cuba to Florida to Key West was done not totally by the book, but she still did swim from Cuba to Key West. And so like, I think if you're a normal person and they're like, well, it wasn't totally by the rules, you'd still be like, who cares a little, right? I don't know. I'm just like, she still had to do it. So I'm like, I don't even think that part of the actual controversy matters. And the fact that like
it's not officially ratified.
Right. But I think if you watch the movie, even if it's not, like, you would just be like, oh man, that's pretty crazy. It's incredibly physically
and it was
demanding.
multiple attempts. She did it.
So
she finally did it when she was 64.
64 is old. Like,
so,
I mean, that's old for doing this. I would say it's old. I wouldn't be able, obviously, I'm not a professional swimmer, but there's 0% chance I would ever be able to even swim a lap. And she's swimming.
You can't do a 50-meter freestyle?
I don't think so.
In 20 seconds? No?
And I think that's also because the directors are obviously these Oscar winners, Jimmy Chin and Elizabeth Chai Vasarhelyi, because they're like real documentarian, like they're like real filmmakers, again, I would say. And it's like their narrative debut, but they're approaching the material, I'd say, with the
like, just like it's Free Solo.
I don't know, like it's Free Solo, but I'm like, they're approaching it with maybe like more of a discerning eye than maybe another filmmaking team would have, I would say.
Yeah, and I think like all the swimming scenes, like when she's actually in the water and all the natural elements that she encounters, and they're like, she has to fight off jellyfish, there's a massive storm, like those sequences are really well done.
It really is. For my whole thing this year lately has been when I watch movies that are made for streaming, including one I was watching last night and fell asleep on that I was enjoying, called Totally Killer, which is a Amazon movie. And even something like No Hard Feelings, which was a theatrical release, they look not great. I don't know if it's the digital sheen. There's so much visual effects now. People in cars are in cars. They're not in cars. They're on like a set. Nobody's in real locations. And I'm just like always taken out of the movie now. And this movie, I felt like when you're watching her in the water, even though there are a lot of visual effects and later some magical realist touches that I found not as effective, but like literally like in the water when there's like a storm or the jellyfish or sharks or whatever, it feels like really well done, and you're kind of like totally buying that it's real. Like, I mean, Nanette Bening was doing the swimming, obviously not in the middle of the ocean, but
they were in a tank.
But like it looks like really, really well done, and I feel like that is also going to help. I had Jodie in, and I've toyed with moving Annette in and out, and I've been both Jodie and Annette in because I think you can't have one without the other. And while I think Jodie is like, boy, she's like one of my favorite performances of the whole year. Honestly, she's so good in it. I think it's a great character. She's so great in the role. It's kind of like you said, like the best friend role, but maybe like, you know, like Mickey and Rocky, right? Like that kind of thing, you know, like it's just like, she's so good. And Annette is obviously playing much more of a prickly character. And that was like kind of at least one pundit pushed back against that at Telluride. But I still have them both in. I think they could both get in very easily.
Yeah, I have them both in still also, as I've said before, because they're currently my only acting nominees who are not from a Best Picture.
Right.
Not many. So I feel like there might be more than two, but I don't. These are the two I have now because I don't have Nyad and Best Picture. I think like Jodie probably has a better shot of getting in than Annette, and it's a really, she has like so many great scenes to Jodie. Like she has a lot of screen time
She's
in the film.
really,
She's basically a
yeah.
co-lead.
Yeah, she is. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's like fraud to be supporting, but she's like,
No.
it's not like 3 scenes and we're out. You know what I mean? Like she's got like a full meal of a
Yeah, because
performance.
she's her coach. She becomes her coach.
Right.
Everyone's seen the ping pong clip that they released when she asks her to coach her. And, she's on the boat and then they have, a lot of confrontations. So, and it's just like a really warm performance. And you just kind of realize how much you miss Jodie Foster on screen too.
Really true.
Oh,
She's so good. She's so good in it. You know what I mean? Like she's so fun and like really good. And I think the movie does a good job of like actually like you said, like Annette's obviously the lead, but I think from an audience perspective, it's not asking you to empathize maybe with Annette, but more so with Jodie, right? You know what I mean? Like even though Annette's character is obviously the lead and like you're rooting for her in theory because of this thing, you
yeah.
kind of are more in line. You're more with the Jodie character a lot as a viewer.
Well, also because most people would relate more to, a civilian, like a meager civilian like Jodie, who would
Right.
not be pursuing something like this.
Right.
And it is very much, like you said, like about like the team effort. It takes like Rhys Ifans is the navigator
So
in it.
he's
And then at the
wonderful.
end, as most, like biopics or movies based on real events do, they, show like the team and like what happened afterwards and everything. So, and yeah, you just see like this saying, like it takes a village, like everyone who needs to come together to help her achieve this, even when she's her own worst enemy, not just to the people around her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I I gotta say, so I have them both in at SAG also, and for at least a day I had Rhys fans in at SAG too. I kind of think it would not shock me if he got in. It just feels like a very SAG movie, very SAG friendly movie, and his performance is also incredibly warm and winning. And I just find it like, I think on my Letterboxd review I called him nice Quint. That's kind of like what the vibe is. It's like if it's Jaws, right? And Jodie is like Richard Dreyfuss, and like Nyad is the shark, and he's like nice Quint basically. Like that's kind of like what the movie is a little. And uh it's just yeah, I just think he's wonderful in it. And I could see him getting in at SAG. I don't predict it anymore, but I'm like, he is quite good in it.
Yeah, he's very good. I don't have him anywhere. I mean, they're basically the only three main characters in the movie.
Yeah,
So
there are other actors in it. I actually really enjoyed there's a young woman who plays a young Diana. I think her name is Anna Harriet Pittman. She plays teenage
yeah,
Diana.
there's a lot of flashbacks
That
to
part of the
like,
movie, I would argue, doesn't is not as effective as the rest.
same. Yeah. But they're trying to, link her not just her background, but like her trauma,
Yes,
so
it,
with the present. So
I
yeah.
completely understand why it's in there, and I value that it's in there. It just, to me, it didn't work as well as the stuff with Jodie and Annette. But I did find the young woman who plays her as a teenager like really really good. I thought she was like a great actor. Never
Yeah.
seen her before in anything.
Um, yeah, I think, the movie would play well with general audiences, like people watching it on Netflix. I don't know how many people saw it when it was in limited two
I don't
weeks.
think a lot of people did, but I do think a lot of people could watch it at home. I think a lot of older people will like it, like I said. I think if you like a sports movie, you're gonna like it because it's just like down the middle sports drama, like you were saying. Like all the beats are there, including the score, rousing Alexandre Desplat score to match it.
Um, yeah, and I think, it's I think one of the the knocks I get it. I don't even know what, but like the or why it's being like underpredicted, or both of them are being under. I don't even know where they are in the odds, but I don't
Yeah.
think that's in the top five. Is she? Maybe Jodie is,
Uh,
but I think like it might be viewed as like super basic, and like it is like broad appealing, but it's solid. I think like it's not a bad film, and I think that's what might have some people down on predicting it, you know?
it's not bad at all. I think it's actually pretty solid. Like I would say
Yeah.
like a solid like B minus maybe, not bad.
Mhm.
You know, Annette's in seventh in the odds, and I'm scrolling. There's so many people. Stop. There's too many. This
You can
we won't
just
have this
control
problem.
F and type in Jodie Foster, you know
We
that.
won't have this problem next year because there's less movies next year because of the strike. Jodie is in sixth in the odds. So they're not, neither one of them are being predicted right now in. But like Jodie is behind Julianne Moore. And I love Julianne Moore in May December. But I think if you were just pound for pound putting these two together, it's more likely that Jodie would get in than Julianne. Not that they both can't get in as well, but I just feel like based on the movie, the performance, and all these different things, like Jodie would probably have a slight leg up on Julianne. Though they both could get in, obviously.
Um, yeah, I like Julianne, but I think we talked about this, uh, how we would like rank Julianne third of the trio in May, December. A lot of trios this year.
She's the Leo of May December. So I think she's better in
They're
May.
less divisive than
Yeah.
Leo's performance.
I also think May December, not to just turn this into a May December sidetrack movie we both loved. I think it's being over predicted because of how people like it, which I'm like
Yeah,
not
it's
sure.
very appealing to like people like us.
Yes, and I'm
So
like Naiad. I think is very appealing to like
the industry, and yeah.
Sid Ganis, right? Like he's probably
Yeah.
loves Naiad. He's out there probably like this is the best movie I've ever seen. It's better than Belfast. I think if you get in, uh, I could see this spot getting in for score. Honestly, I don't know if we get a lot of other nominations, but like we'll find we can't
I,
do the
I
score
mean,
yet,
I think
obviously.
he would only get in if it's like a huge contender, because his nom's kind of ride or die on that. So
And yeah, I don't know. It's good. Solid movie. I think at the very least it'll get the two of them in. I don't think they vote the voters vote like this, but I do think that when we're thinking about like we kind of talk about this like the performance that stands out different from the other performances, right? Or whatever like and Annette is unique in the best actress race because she's one of the only actors here who's above like 60, right? I mean,
this category this year, or like the top contenders, it's skewing very young. We could legit have a best actress lineup of just actresses in their 30s.
and
Then
so
you have like Haley Spaney, who's
mhm.
26.
So it's very
Sandra
young.
Huller's 45, and then you have Annette Bening. um,
In the
so,
top 10, yeah, Sandra Huller's got to be is probably the oldest other than Annette at 45, right? Because it's Emma
yeah, and then like Greta Lee's 40.
right. So in that aspect, I feel like that gives Annette, if not a leg up, because I don't think people vote like that. At least it makes it feel different, right? You know what I mean? Like it's like a different
Yeah,
caliber.
she's the veteran, like I've said. Like I think she has like that demo to
A
herself.
demo, right? Exactly, and so that I think helps. Like again, we don't need a lot, as we learned last year from Frances Fisher. You only need like 200 people.
And then we got a couple weeks ago, we had a question about um how her position as the head of the entertainment fund or something.
Yeah, for SAG.
I think the question was phrased because the person was under assumption that the SAG strike would end, because this was on the heels of the writer's strike
Yeah,
ending. And I was like, I think it would actually help her if the strike doesn't end, because it's like she would be continuing the support, you know? And
but it looks like now. I mean, I'm not gonna. We've said this
you've made terrible predictions, so don't even try.
It seems like based on everything everybody's saying, it'll be over this week. But who knows? Maybe it'll go to January.
But she like I don't think, like, regardless of whether the strike ends or not, like I think that is something, like her position is something that people remember regardless.
Yeah.
So, because she had a whole like THR cover about it too.
Uh, you mentioned Kaylee Spaney. That's the other movie coming out this week in wider release, Priscilla.
Yeah, I was in Limited last week. I really like Priscilla.
What? Oh, you got to see it. We never talked about it. It's great. It's like one of my
Well,
favorite
because
movies of
I
the whole
saw it
year.
the day after we recorded last
Right.
week.
So you liked it. It's one of my favorite movies of the whole year. I think it's wonderful. And I would love to see her get in, but I don't know how she could fit in.
I've always had her in at the Globes because it's the Globes.
And there's 6 slots.
And I'm also like, they're gonna nominate Daisy Jones, like Riley Keough and her. Yeah, she's really good. And what I really liked about the movie is that like they're playing, like she and Jacob Elordi are playing Priscilla and Elvis, but not really, like only in name, because they're just these, it's not about really their fame at all, or his fame. It's about this, young naive girl who got into this relationship, and it didn't turn out the way she envisioned, and you just feel her growing isolation over the years, and her struggle to find herself and get out. Like, it's very much a relationship film.
Mm-hmm.
And like the entry point is just these famous characters that they are playing, but you don't really think that like they're playing Priscilla and Elvis that much. And like every now and then, they mention him going on tour, or like it's like his comeback special is airing and stuff, but there's because of like rights issues, like he's not performing as Elvis
There's a
in the
couple of
film.
scenes where he is performing, but you don't hear the Elvis music.
Yeah, like you don't, it's not like Austin Butler and Elvis. Like he's
No.
not singing anything. Like he goes into a recording studio and then like plays something for her,
Yes.
and then throws a chair at her.
Yes.
So not great, but um yeah, it's just very much about uh a relationship, and I think that's what really works for it. And it's uh very different from Elvis, and then all the discourse comparing Jacob and Austin is very tiring.
Yeah, I've really detached from that, honestly. I've just ejected from it. I couldn't
I
care
mean, that
less.
started, when it premiered at New York Film Festival a couple weeks ago too, but
Couldn't
just
care less.
now, like more people are gonna see it, and it's the same bullshit over and over
I
again.
mean, Jacob is amazing in the movie, though. I thought he's like so good, but
He's
I
really
think
good, yeah.
Haley is like the best. There was a viral clip of her. It's when, like, did you see that going viral yesterday? It was like when he's going back, he's going to film Viva Las Vegas, and like they're outside the tour bus, and
Yeah,
like
that's the clip that they released. Yeah.
and and she says like 2 things in it, but it's like every aspect of her face is just doing something different. I just think it's like the best performance, and she believably plays like a teenager and then like a young adult, which I thought was like really good as well. I mean, because she's 25, I think, in real life, right? How old is she in real life?
She's 26. So she plays her from 14 um until like her late 20s, I think, because I think she left him in 73.
The ending, we will not spoil it, but the ending I thought was like the best. The way it ends is really great.
It's a great ending. And uh yeah.
Now,
Like I think like some people might argue the film could continue with like an extra scene or two, but I don't think it's necessary.
it's just I mean, I really do think this is like Sophia's best movie. I would say at least since Marie Antoinette, but maybe even since Lost in Translation. I think it's like that good, and I think it should be like a contender in a lot of categories. And don't think it'll be any. I don't think it'll get any nominations. And I think it could get conceivably should get like consideration in screenplay, in costumes,
Yeah, I mean, like the
made.
production design, the costumes are
Everything is like
great, and
incredible.
she's just, Sophia's just really good at capturing the loss of innocence.
Do you think it would be a contender? She's been out there a lot. She's like the mini Marty of this month. She's been everywhere, doing every
Well,
interview.
at least she could do it with her actors too.
And the actors are doing some stuff, but even with the actors doing some stuff, the focus is Sophia. It feels like I'm not
Yes.
even,
Well,
I
she
mean,
also
like,
released a book
yeah.
in September. Yeah.
I mean,
So
God bless Jacob Elordi for saying he learned about Elvis from Lilo and Stitch, which is the best and
just
clearly
just a
iconic.
great aggravation headline.
The
So
best. So like, God bless him. And like I said, I think he's like of all the actors this year, I'm glad he's getting to do press, and like I'm sure like soon everybody will be doing press and it doesn't matter. But I'm like, he's had a really good year. He's great in Saltburn as well. So like, good for Jacob Elordi for like
He's way
coming
better in
out.
Priscilla than Saltburn.
Yes, but he's also great in Saltburn. I don't think it's like, he's better
I
in
mean,
Priscilla.
like I found him to be fine in Saltburn. Like I'm not like, if you're gonna force me to nominate him for one of
No,
those
I
two
would say Priscilla
movies,
is like
it'll
a
be
better
Priscilla.
performance too.
So
But I'm like, he's great in Saltburn too.
I was never like give him awards for Saltburn.
No, no, no. It's too good to get awards. It's fine. Uh,
Is
but
this going to be your number one of the year, Saltburn?
no, Oppenheimer's still my number one. But Saltburn's top three. It's great. I love it. And it won somehow, even though everybody who I talk to doesn't like it, anybody who's like a film Twitter person or in the media is like, fuck that movie. But then in real life, everybody seems to love it because it keeps winning. It won like an audience award.
Oh, I know like some people who
I
like.
know some people who really like it, but there's a certain sect of like elite
Oh
snob.
no, I know several people who like they like it more than I do.
That's good. I know you actually didn't dislike it, but I
I
know
didn't
people who
dislike it,
did.
but
I
I
know
don't love
people
it.
who
It's like I
dislike
don't
it.
hate it either. It's just like completely in the middle
People
for me.
really hate it, which
So
I find annoying. Anyway, it's a great movie. Can't wait to talk about that one too. But Jacob is great. I don't think do you think Sophia could get in adapted screenplay when it is
I didn't
already
edit it anywhere.
stock? Me neither. So
I would like personally nominate it, but I just don't know where I would put it.
we've talked about this with like other things, but I think the fact that like costumes would be an easy one, right? And honestly, hair and makeup too. But the fact is, like, these are movies. There are so many movies and so many big movies this year that feel like are going to just suck up the air in those categories. So right now, the top five in costumes are Barbie, Poor Things, Kills a Flower Moon, Color Purple, and Wonka. Then Napoleon, Oppenheimer, Maestro, and Priscilla's in ninth. And I'm like, honestly, probably based on that list, like, because these other movies are bigger movies and like a huger profile, and some of these are like top five Best Picture nominees.
Yeah, there's just a lot of uh all around contenders this year. Like I do think Kaylee is top 10. I don't know.
Yes.
Like I think she could get in at the Globes. Um
Do you think she would get in at BAFTA?
as a jury pick.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, like I could see her getting in at Critics' Choice in one of their million slots.
Maybe they'll have a tie or something.
SAG, um, I think, well, I guess like if the right people or enough people in the nom-com see it and vote for her, I think she could get in. I mean, it's also appealing to SAG because it's like they're playing real people, like people we know. But it's not like super, super baity, the performance.
That's the problem.
That's what SAG likes too. Yeah, I mean, she could be a jury pick at BAFTA. I don't know. I don't think she would be top 3 at BAFTA.
Who would be top three at BAFTA this year?
Um,
Emma, Lily
and
Gladstone.
Sandra. I mean, if Lily is not top 3, she would be a jury pick.
I could see Kaylee being top three behind Emma and Sandra.
She would only be top 3 if she has a ton of momentum at that point when they're voting. Like, but right now she doesn't.
I guess the thing I was hoping, like, momentum is the reason why I guess you would still not write her. Like, I think you're right. I think she's in the top 10. Certainly in our odds, she's in the. Where is she? Why am I not finding her? Let me see where they.
Why don't you just type people's names?
I did. Ninth. She's ninth in the odds. I think if she got momentum, she could move up there. I think Golden Globes definitely would. She's going to get nominated. I don't think SAG, but I think if she got in at BAFTA, that would like help push the momentum and the narrative that she's like a major contender.
Well, the thing with like BAFTA too, because it's half jury now, it's like I also haven't even looked at the dates to see if it even affect like Oscar voting.
Right.
But like it's like easy to like look at the list of nominees and say like, oh, like they got this nomination, like they're definitely in. But then you look at like how the voting breaks down because it is jury. So then you're like, oh, she could just be someone that these 8 people picked or whatever, and not the membership
Right.
or the branch
Right.
picked, you know? So
It's a great movie though.
yeah.
Will be in my top, also my on my top 10 of the year. Certainly. Love it.
you know, I don't do that, but it's
We're gonna get asked
definitely
for it though.
one of the ones I liked more than other films.
We're gonna have. I mean, we'll do it at the end of the year. I'm sure someone will email us and say what your favorite movies are.
You know, I'm not ranking though. I can name 10
You'll
movies.
just
I'm
name
not
10
ranking.
movies. I mean, I'll just name top 10 when I do it. But just we have so many emails here. I think we should get to some. A lot of emails at slugfests@goldderby.com. I'm gonna start with Tim, who I was talking about earlier about spoilers. Like I said, it was contentious in the comments.
Because people just don't know history. So
Hey, you two, you're amazing. So obviously, I'm gonna read this one. I love to listen and absorb mostly ASMR as I'm doing chores.
it's great.
Spoilers.
Love to be background noise.
That's like most of the stuff on not most of the stuff made now is background noise and second, third screen. So I aspire to be such a great moment. Spoilers, get a life, Tim writes. Granted, I have seen the crying game right at the start of the season way back when, so Siskel did not ruffle my feathers when he spoiled it. But that's just the thing. If it's so important to you and annoys you so much, go see the movie right away. Or you're listening to, say, you two, and then Killers of Flower Moon bits and pieces are being divulged. Scream and mute. Get a life and go read, not see, the subtle art of not giving an F. Not a question, just my thoughts. You two make my week happy and made me watch and buy all of Succession with all the spoilers. That's from Tim.
I mean, you know, Succession had a lot of spoiler discourse after Logan died, too.
It did.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Tim. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. If it's that important to you, especially in this day and age, then you either go see it right away or you avoid the internet. Don't go on the internet. Like you have to police yourself. It was definitely easier in the pre-internet days because you didn't connect to the world, like your inner circle. You could just talk about things with your inner circle, like your family, your friends, your coworkers, about what you saw this weekend, and you could directly tell them, "Don't spoil it for me." But if you're gonna go online, you don't know what you're gonna see online, so.
I agree with that. The other thing I was thinking, like, I feel like this is maybe not even a real quote or a real thing, but I feel like in Roger Ebert's review, maybe of Usual Suspects or something where it was a twist, I think, or even maybe Sixth Sense, it was like, I think he suggested at one point that, like, if your movie is built totally to rely on a twist and doesn't work as a movie, it's actually not a successful movie, right? And I
Well,
think
that's
like
always my argument about why I don't give a shit about spoilers. You can tell me anything. You could spoil things for me that I don't even watch. It doesn't matter because to me, like the spoiler itself, like the twist or whatever itself doesn't matter if it's not meaningful, like if it doesn't make sense dramaturgically.
right.
No.
That's right, Jeremy. I agree.
Yeah. So I think people just love like the shock and the surprise of the twist or whatever. And like, yes, I do understand like when it happens, it's like an experience, right? Like when it's revealed, when something's revealed to you. But like once that all dies down, like it still has to make sense in the movie.
And a good movie, I think, you could watch it with the like. I like being surprised in a movie, but also like if it's good, I want to keep watching. Like
Yeah,
Sixth
and
Sense,
that's why we watch stuff.
right? Usual
We know
Suspects
what
I've seen a million
happens.
times. Like Sixth Sense has two like great twist endings. I'm like, those are great movies. Seen
Yeah.
a million times. Uh, so yeah, and if again, like you said, if you see the episode is about a movie, I would say just go in knowing that we're probably going to talk about things
Yeah,
about the
like
movie you might
if
not
you
want to know.
haven't if you're planning on watching, I don't know, like Flower Moon in 2 weeks or something, then just avoid this thing,
Maybe put a bookmark it.
you know. But also, like I said, like if something's out, people are allowed to talk about it.
Right.
So
Just have one here from Sean about the color purple, and I have some gardeners outside. So if you hear some really loud leaf blowers, that's what we're dealing with.
it's pretty early for
I guess so. I'm surprised.
gardening.
What are you
Yeah.
gonna do? Hi, Joyce and Chris. Love the show. Thanks for keeping us updated on the Oscars on a weekly basis. Sean, you're welcome. Last week, you read a question where someone flagged something about Fantasia's role in The Color Purple. To confirm, in the Broadway version, the characters that play Celie and Nettie portray those characters for the duration of the musical. But I imagine this version isn't unlike Steven Spielberg's 1985 film. In that version, a younger actress played Celie for about 15 or 20 minutes at the age of 14, before Whoopi Goldberg took over from ages 18 to 40. Having seen the stage play, much of the meat of the character storyline in this adaptation will likely happen after the actress swap from Mopasa to Barrino. Mopasa may be featured in the trailers, but we have yet to hear her utter a single word, and we keep seeing the same scenes with her and Bailey, Halle Bailey, which reads to me as they have limited roles in screen time. Then Bailey herself has said that she plays a very small part. If Goldberg was seen as win-worthy contender in 86, why wouldn't Barrino? We know that she will have an even greater presence than Goldberg, given, as Joyce mentioned, the inclusion of Celie's imagination a la Chicago, plus musical numbers where she will undoubtedly excel. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Sean, for the education on the musical, which neither of us have seen.
Great. This is very helpful info.
But yeah, I also kind of just based on the trailer kind of expected that like it'll be, young people in the beginning and then the swap.
Right.
So, but yeah, like I still have Fantasia out just because it hasn't been widely seen yet. So that's really the only reason.
And it's like not fair because like I know people who have seen it, and I know you probably do as well, but it hasn't obviously been widely seen. But none of those people are like even whispering like it's got like not as this the praise is like it's good, everything is good, but it's not like nothing I've heard has made me want to slip her in yet. Though I would not be surprised if I end up putting her in once the movie so it's more widely screened, I guess I would say.
Yeah. I still have the double supporting actresses. And so Warner Brothers launched their FYC site.
Yes.
This week for their films, Barbie, this, and Wonka, but they still haven't listed the song submissions for Color Purple, so they're not there. But basically every other category is, and their supporting actress pushes this is in the order they listed. So this tells you their priority. It's Taraji, Danielle Brooks, her, or Gabriella Wilson, as it's listed here, Halle, and Felicia. So that's the order. It's not alphabetical.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You mentioned Best Original Song. We got one here from Tony about that. So let's just do that. Hello, Joyce and Chris. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Tony, it just started because we're doing this pretty early. But so far, so good. I recently saw a report that Warner Brothers had submitted 3 entries in for Barbie and Best Original Song. I'm Just Ken, Dance the Night Away, and What Was I Made For? I was under the impression that most studios only submit one song to better ensure nomination and prevent vote splitting. So this came as a surprise, assuming it's true. It's true because it just is on their site, like we were talking about.
Yeah, but all 3 of them are there.
Is this just a misconception I had, or is Warner Brothers making a tactical mistake and not backing a single horse? Could this hurt their chances of nominations or wins? Which song do you think has the best chance? Personally, I've always felt that I'm Just Ken has the best chance at winning because of how central it is to the movie, how memorable that whole sequence is, and how it went semi-viral alongside the movie. Then again, the Billie Eilish song seems more like a traditional Oscar pick that they might default to. Not sure why they threw in the Dua Lipa song as much as I love it. Thanks for the great content. That's Tony.
Well, yes, they submitted all 3. All 3 are listed here. And the order is What Was I Made For, Dance Tonight, and I'm Just Ken.
So
only 2 can get in at the Oscars. That's the rule.
I don't know this at all. So this is just speculating, but I would imagine there was some kind of, if not contractual, some kind of discussion that
is like we have to campaign Dua Lipa and Billie Eilish.
Yes. And then I'm Just Ken is in there on its own merit and as like a massive viral hit, like Tony is saying here.
Yeah.
I personally think I'm Just Ken should definitely get in. I mean, it feels like it's the best. It's like Tony said, it's the centerpiece of the movie, frankly, and it's absolutely an incredible sequence. And like we've talked about a lot in the last few years, how kind of like hack it is when the songs aren't part of the movie, and that is not always going to get in because, like we've seen, they don't seem to care about that. But I mean, if you're loading up this clip on the Academy site to watch the song, if it makes the short list, you're gonna love that scene. If you haven't seen it, it's the best part, the movie.
Well, the good news for all three of these songs is like none of them are credit songs. They're all played in the movie, but only two of them are actually of service in scenes, and I'm Just Ken and Dance Tonight, because they're part of actual sequences in the film. And What Was I Made For is just played over a scene, a very moving scene.
And but the melody like comes throughout. They kind of like prime you for that song throughout the movie because it is in there a lot, even if you're not hearing the actual song.
But if you're someone who prioritizes like the use of the song in the movie, then it's the two major dance sequences in there. I think so. Do you think it'll get 2 slots?
I do, personally.
So I think same, and I think Billie is in no matter what else is in there with her.
So the fact that Billie Eilish already won an Oscar
for a song I've never heard,
for better than Sam Smith Bond theme, but not a great Bond theme.
Not a Skyfall.
Definitely not a Skyfall. To me, she's like an automatic in at this point, frankly. And I think I'm Just Ken, if the movie was not what the movie became, and it was like Eurovision, we would be sitting here being like, oh man, I will hope I'm Just Ken gets in. But the fact that it was like, this is the biggest movie in a long time, and the song is a cultural phenomenon, and Gosling is going to get in, I feel like it's also going to get in. And I don't think the Dua Lipa song, while awesome, is going to get in. That would be my take.
It's funny because I feel like the Dua Lipa song is so much what's like the oral version of Face of the movie, the song of the movie, that because like, that was used in the marketing so much, and that was the first single from the movie. I hear it all the time, like on the radio and everything. So I think like it's it's like such a big pop hit, but I agree, like I can also see it not getting in.
I wonder if that's also, like you said,
like I think like that's definitely the biggest song here. Like I think it's bigger than What Was I Made For.
Certainly it's like a huge hit, like you're saying. But I wonder also, while it is so recognizably part of the movie, does it then, when it kind of exists as its own massive pop hit apart from the movie, does that make people think of it not as part of the movie as much? I don't know if that's true.
I don't think so, especially because it's used in a whole dance sequence in the movie. Like I think it being an actual, like, Billboard top 100 hit, hot 100 hit, like helps it. So I mean, like these are the kind of songs that we want in, original song nominees, like songs like people know.
You think all 3 can get in?
No, because only 2 can get in per movie.
Right.
That's cool. They submitted 3.
Right.
But it's like, like Tony was saying, was, the strategy has been that studios or films have usually just submitted 1, so they don't vote split and get none in. That's what happened with Encanto.
But that was a mistake,
because like that like Bruno didn't take off at that point when the submission deadline.
But this is like, to me, this is like, I'm Just Ken is the Bruno of this. So I feel like it'll get in.
This is also just them being very confident.
As they should be. I mean, the songs are great. And like, I think they'll get in. I think the other slots will probably be, like you said, like one of the Color Purple songs, it's assuming one of those songs from Wish, whichever one they decide. And then like something else, maybe the Trolls NSYNC song or whatever it's going to be. Right. Like, I mean, who knows?
Yeah. Lenny Kravitz. I'm
not gonna put that one in, Joyce.
That's a credit song
for Rustin. What about the one in Nyad? There is a credit song in Nyad. Linda Perry, I think, does the song in Nyad.
No, because we know the last spot will be reserved for
Diane Warren. Right. Yeah, I'm excited to talk more about song as we get to it, I guess. Here's one from Chris. Chris says, "Hi, Joyce and Chris. First time writer here, love the show. My question is about best animated feature, which in my opinion seems to be one of the most competitive categories in terms of nominations. While I feel Spider-Verse and The Boy and the Heron are locks, I feel pretty good about Elemental. I'm scratching my head about what to put in the last two spots. I feel like Wish is going to be underwhelming based on the trailers, though since no one has seen it, it's an unknown. And I previously had Chicken Run and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in, but Chicken Run has had a bit of a muted response, and I finally caught up with Ninja Turtles, and I thought it was good, but I don't feel like it'll be enough to get a nomination, as it may be looked at as lowbrow, since the other Ninja Turtle films have been pretty rough. The same with Super Mario Brothers, although it has made a ton of money. Illumination has never gotten in outside of Despicable Me. Maybe Nimona or The Peasants? What are your thoughts?
I don't even know what I have. So, but you're anti-elemental.
No, I'm not. I thought it was totally fine. I have it in, I think, too now. Let me see.
You put it in because you didn't have it in.
So I have in now Spider-Verse, which you can watch on Netflix right now, which I think is a great boon for it. The Boy and the Heron, Wish, Elemental, and Super Mario. And the top 5 in the odds are Spider-Man, Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Wish, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, followed by Chicken Run, and then Super Mario. I think Nimona is being underpredicted, and they're doing a big push for it.
Yeah, I have Nimona.
The other one I was thinking that could definitely get in is They Shot the Piano Player, which is going to be a Sony Classics movie that I think could easily get in as like the highbrow arty one, but it's 100 to 1 odds right now.
Where's The Peasants?
The Peasants is under Nimona, so it's in the top 10. I think in lieu of movies that are underwhelming, these smaller movies would get in, frankly. So if Wish is like kind of a flop, though it's tracking really well, it seems like, and the songs are good, I guess, so far. The Chris Pine one sounded fun. Though I'm not sure what the movie is really about. Elemental I have in, but I could see it falling out because I think people don't love it. I think everyone like kind of liked it, or it was just like, it's fine. And that to me sometimes means that it could lose a nomination against something that has more passion behind it.
Yeah. I mean, I have Spider-Verse, Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Wish, and Nimona. But I could see like both Wish and Elemental not getting in, like only one of them getting in.
And I think Mario is like an easy one to knock out, but I also think it was good. Like it made a lot of money because it was also good. It's not actually a bad movie. And I think people will probably enjoy it if they watch it. So, as someone who's seen it like 4 times, I'd say it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also I see it kind of being right now in like this the 6th or 7th, 8th spot there. Because I think like people like it and it's obviously seen, but I don't know if there is like a ton of passion for it. Like I think kids love it.
But the other thing I think too is a tough problem for it is someone who has it predicted, and these will not be my final predictions probably, is that in the I usually think there's always going to be like one big like hit in this cat, like, you know what I mean, like, but there's so many hits actually in this category that it kind of loses like whatever competitive advantage it might have as the biggest movie, because like Spider-Verse is a hit, Elemental was a hit despite the headlines you might have read on certain websites. I'm sure Wish will make money, Trolls will make money, you know what I mean? It's like these are all going to be like pretty successful movies. So
Well, and Elemental is also just like Pixar, so they could just be super lazy.
just name check it in.
So
I got an email from David L., our old pal. Emailed us at slugfests@goldderby.com. It's David L. again. Happy November. My question is, do you think Claire Foy could finally get in supporting actress for All of Us Strangers after getting snubbed in the same category for First Man and Women Talking? I haven't seen the film yet, but based on the trailer and your reactions, it seems like it might be her greatest performance. Also, I saw a screening of Ferrari, and Adam Driver was totally fine, but Penelope Cruz was the MVP of that movie, so you could be underestimating her as well. As someone who is an actor myself, I thought she really captured the emotion of the film. It's probably Michael Mann's best movie since he made Collateral. I don't feel like Color Purple will get much traction except for a couple of craft nominations because the supporting actress category is pretty stacked this year. After the Gotham Awards, I put both Claire Foy and Penelope Cruz in my predictions at the Globes and Oscars. I love how this year is filled with so many OG actors in great films. I thought The Holdovers was good and totally rewatchable, but it's filled with a lot of cliches that I feel like I've seen before many times. And Anatomy of Fall is more of a complex script that I think can win. What are your thoughts?
where is Claire in the odds?
Let me look. Hang on. I'll do Control F for you this time. All right, Jesus Christ.
I feel like she's like not
19th place.
okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think she's in the top 10.
Behind such discussed performances as Florence Pugh in Oppenheimer, Scarlett Johansson in Asteroid City, Niecy Nash Betts in Origin, and Cara Jade Myers in Killers of the Flower Moon.
I understand one of those. But I also think, like All of Us Strangers is not out yet. It won't be out for like another 7 weeks or whatever. But I loved her in it. And I never really cared about her performances of her previous Oscar pushes in like First Man or Women Talking. Like I thought she was, good, but like I wasn't upset that she was snubbed or anything. It was just like, oh, she didn't get in. But it would be great if this were to get her first Oscar nomination.
I'm of two minds of this. I think supporting actress is pretty loose. So there's like a lot of room for flexibility there, right? You know what I mean? So if she got in, I wouldn't be surprised. I think she can get in at BAFTA, and I think she can get in maybe with Critics' Choice. But I also think the movie is not as much of a slam dunk as it was initially expected. Like I've seen people not as into it as it screens throughout these festivals. So I think it's not, if not divisive, like it's not like an automatic. But I think, like you were saying, her two performances in First Man and Women Talking that everybody thought were going to get nominated or at least discussed heavily are very similar, right? It's like you're just a bunch of boys, kind of that tone. And this is like way different. I think she's playing like a different tone and a different type of character. And so I could see if the other two, if the previous performances didn't work for voters, maybe this one would. And she is like the emotional core of the film with Jamie. So I'm like, I can make an argument for it very easily and also against it. I just think the movie might end up being too small and she'll have to settle for like smaller nominations, like the Gothams.
Yeah, I also wouldn't, put all my chips in on Gotham nominations for my Oscar predictions.
As we said last week when we were going over it,
it's 5 people picking.
It's 5 film Twitter people who tweet. So, no offense to those people, but I'm like, they're not.
I mean, like, deserve a nomination, but again, great. not a very large pool. No. And, I'm happy she got in there. But yeah, I think, we will, like, I could see her getting some like critics mentions too, and especially like regional critics as well. But I think we'll have a better sense like once the movie finally comes out.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely a film Twitter fave. For obvious
reasons. It's funny though, it is a film Twitter fave, but I've seen people who I would say are like film Twitter devotees being like not as into it.
But it's like that is the place that it's beloved the most.
Yes.
And I think that also kind of warps the perception of how strong certain things are. Like I'm talking about this film right now, but like that's the case for other films too.
Yeah, for sure.
Where like
we were May December.
A target audience for this film. Yeah.
Like we were saying, May December, I think would be like that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so you think it's like maybe stronger than it is because like these people love it and like they're talking about it. And I do think she's very good in it. But I don't think I have the movie getting in anything. I don't think I have it in screenplay either.
I think after I saw it at Telluride, I put it in screenplay. Actually, no, and I think I had Andrew Scott in, and now I don't have either of them in. Festival Goggles.
Yeah, I don't have it in screenplay. I think I have Andrew at the Globes because
I too have Andrew at the Globes.
6 slots.
It's much easier when there's 6 slots. If there were 6 slots, we would have like nothing to talk about a lot. Be like, all right.
That's why they need to stop expanding stuff.
What if they did 4 slots? Let's make it harder.
That'd be fun. I mean, the BAFTAs used to be 4 slots.
So. More emails. We have to wrap up here soon, Joyce, because I have to run. But we have a couple more emails I got to get to. Emails at slugfest@goldderby.com. This one's from Rebecca. What did you make of the new round of Maestro reviews and tweet views out of AFI?
I think they were largely positive from what I saw.
I would say I had some people being like, they're both going to win Oscars, which I mean,
yes, yeah, I saw a lot of that.
Yeah. I mean, like, I still have Bradley winning, and I could see Carrie winning, though I think her category is much more competitive. I would say the thing I would say about those AFI reviews, just more, it seems like this is a movie that will is going to remain a strong contender, though I'm not sure it will go win a lot of awards, I guess. I don't know. Though I think they could both win, I guess.
Yeah, it didn't feel that much different from like the New York
No.
reviews. It was like, you know, largely liked, and everyone loved the performances.
Yeah.
It's like stuff we already knew. It was just confirmation of what we already knew.
When you see these movies, Joyce, how does it work for you, like in your own mind? We see the movies, we're like, oh, that was great, and then like a month goes by and you think back to the movie. Is your opinion like still like that was great, or are you like it was fine?
With Maestro, like I still like Maestro.
I still
Like
like Maestro too, but I'm just saying, like, when I saw it, I was like, all these things are good, and this stuff I thought was less good, but still solid. And now I'm like, all those things were good and still less good, but I'm also like not super passionate about it, I guess.
well, were you passionate about some of those stuff a month ago?
I guess not.
Yeah, so nothing really changed, right?
No. It's kind of like Kill the Flower Moon for me too, where I'm just like, I'm gonna keep watching this until I figure out like I want to like it so
Is
bad.
it your new Phantom Menace? You're gonna watch it four
Four
times in the
times.
theater?
I'm not seeing Kill the Flower Moon again in the theater. That I know.
Are
I'm
you
not.
gonna watch it when it hits Apple?
I doubt it, honestly. I might put it on one day, but I mean, it's a tough to imagine sitting at home to watch it when you've seen it 3 times already.
Yeah.
So you
Um,
will probably watch it, like you said, you've only seen it once, so I'm sure you'll probably watch it again.
yeah, yeah. Like I have no plans to see it again in the theater,
No,
but I'll watch it again on Apple.
yeah,
So yeah. But yeah, with Maestro, yeah, none of that was surprising. And I guess I mean, is Bradley in first? No, Killian's still in first, right?
I think Killian's still in first. Let me look.
Yeah, and I think Carrie's in third, right?
Bradley's actually in third
Oh,
behind
interesting.
Leo and Killian, and then Carrie
So they're both in third.
is also in third,
Yeah.
but a much close. She's very close behind Lily, for at least for nominations. Though Lily is way ahead in wins.
Yeah. I guess maybe like for Carrie it's good like to kind of, reassert herself as a contender after all, Killer Moon or Killers of the Flower Moon came out,
Killer Moon
whatever.
would be great. That would be the Zack Snyder
Flowers of the Killer
version.
Moon was a great movie.
Killer Moon would be Zack Snyder's version of it.
Yeah. And and like, all the hype was around Lily. So now, Carrie's like, remember me, like I'm
Yeah.
great in this movie too, and everyone who's seen it loves my performance too. So
Yeah, I just don't know if I could get her in. Like, I just feel like I could see it being a his and her win, like kind of like as good as it gets style or whatever. We've seen this in the past, but I just feel like his category is not as competitive, even though they're both very competitive and there are a lot of great performances. I just feel like there's like the best actress race is so stacked that it's harder for Carrie to win than Bradley to win in Best Actor. Though I think Carrie might be better than Bradley in the movie, if that
yeah,
matters.
I think she's better than Bradley.
They're both great though. I'm not like
Yeah,
there's
they're
not a
both
knock.
great. And um, but yeah, I think she would have a harder time winning.
Yes.
So I don't know if I would go as far to say it will win both
No.
categories, but like it would be, good wins if they were both to win.
And again, I'll be curious to see when the SAG strike ends. The conventional wisdom online is that Bradley Cooper not doing press is probably good for Bradley Cooper. But I would say, like, I would be curious, with Carey Mulligan doing press, would that be better for her? I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I don't think it matters. She already had a cover come out a
She
couple
did.
weeks ago. So,
She did.
um, but it's like I think, it's like people know the movie exists. It's also coming out pretty late. Well, it's gonna be in theaters,
Soon, this
like
month.
around Thanksgiving, but on Netflix in late December.
Yeah.
So
This one's from Jenny at slugfest@goldderby.com. The strikes this summer have delayed a lot of television shows. A little left turn here, Joyce. What series have you both been watching this fall, and what would you recommend?
um I mean, I'm not watching anything for fun right now.
I think a lot of stuff I've watched is under embargo. I'll just say this. I think TV is mostly bad. Not a lot of good shows on right now. Even the stuff I've liked in the past, I've not been super passionate about, including Loki. I don't know if you agree, but the season has been mixed, I would say.
I it's well, so I watched like the 4 screeners because we're caught up now. So this week is 5, right?
Yeah.
So I want to see the last 2 episodes
I'm excited to see the last 2 episodes.
because it was like I like the season. My thing with Loki is that I want it to be a little bit more like buddy cop procedurally,
Same.
kind of like the early episodes of season 1. And like this season, um, it's like so far deep in the temporal loom stuff and that I can like hardly follow. Like I can follow it, but it's also just like it's so deep in there. And uh like I like a lot of parts of it. And then I thought the cliffhanger of 4 was hilarious.
I also like the cliffhanger for. I totally agree with you. I think the season is way too hard to follow, and like the stuff that made the first season great, they've kind of totally not
My
done.
favorite thing about this season is uh Miss Minute's heel turn. I love Ghost Clock.
Miss Minute's heel turn is great. I actually think Kyu Kwan is awesome on it. I think it's like really fun. He knows the material and the tone, and like it's very fun. Owen Wilson and Hiddleston are amazing still. But like all this stuff, like you said, like all the buddy cop stuff, all the Sophie and Tom stuff, it's just not as good. They don't not really doing it. And I'm like, so I hope the second last episodes will kind of be like that
Well,
based
yeah,
on the way it
because now I'm
resets.
like, there's this, like cliffhanger. Like, I need to see the last 2. And yeah, because I like 3, the one at like the fair, like that, like Loki was basically a supporting character in that one because it was
Loki's
all
really not been in a lot.
like it was all about Jonathan
Yeah.
Majors and
And
Ghost
I would
Clock.
say putting not that you have to, but not the biggest fan of the Jonathan Majors performance this in the show.
He was doing something different.
The other stuff I could say that I watched that I don't know if I could talk about greatly. 2 things that I love though were Fargo season 5 and Monarch Legacy of Monsters.
I know the Fargo embargo was next week.
So I watched it and I enjoyed it. That's not breaking. I like it exists and it's good. Last one here from Allison Joyce. I feel like this one's directed straight to you, so I'm gonna read it to you. Matthew Perry's sudden death over the weekend was heartbreaking. Do you think he was an underrated actor? And what is your favorite performance of his? That's from Allison. Joyce, you're the biggest Friends fan I've ever met.
Oh, well, thank you. I know a lot of big Friends fans. A lot of people who love Friends like to say they're the biggest Friends fans.
Okay.
So, because that's what happened on my first day of college with my roommate. Yes, devastating. This is probably the saddest I've been over a celebrity death. Because it's my favorite show and I grew up watching it, and like I was gonna say I've lost people like celebrities I've grown up watching have died,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been sad, but this one is it's just like he and Chandler like shaped my humor. Basically, like I learned sarcasm from him. Like this is not anything revelatory because I think that's the case for a lot of people of my generation and yours too, really, like anyone who grew up in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to record episodes on VHS and rewatch them, not just for the episode itself, but to hear his line deliveries and his cadence. And I would try to mimic it because it was just so unique and so funny. And like I still like say lines in my head like him, or I would like say something and be like, oh, like Chandler would have like said it like that, or like that's like a Chandler line. So I think even when the show was airing, when it was airing, it was a huge hit, but it was definitely underrated. Awards wise, like he should have way more than one Emmy nomination for it. He should have been nominated for the last season too. He had a great tape, the one with the birth mother, when he tells Anna Faris that he'll learn how to be a good dad when the day comes, but his wife is already there. She's a mother without a baby. And he's like the best friend you want and the perfect boyfriend and husband that you want. I think one of the most romantic things he ever said on the show was when he told Monica that she's not high maintenance, like she's just passionate, and he's good at cheering her up when she gets upset at the little things, and it's okay because he likes maintaining her. I'm like, that is just so sweet.
That one, I saw that one going viral after.
That's like one of his best moments on the show. And like just that whole arc of that character. And he was so great at it because he wasn't just about the jokes. And but and then like, you know, he didn't do a lot of movies, but his best movie was his last movie, 17 again.
Great movie.
He's not in it a lot, but it's really great. So, yeah, very sad. You know, it's more that like I don't think any of us were ready to start losing friends.
No.
This soon.
Yeah.
So
you're not really expecting it. Very young, obviously.
Yeah, just very, and as we're recording this, his memoir came out a year ago today. So I was probably reading it at this point.
Wow.
Today. So it's very sad.
I think what you're saying about his line, like I was not the biggest Friends fan, though I've watched a lot of it. I have not revisited it, but when it was on, I was watching it. And his line readings and his sarcasm, I could hear in my head forever. Like he is like immediately the most memorable character, I think, on the whole show.
He's everyone's favorite character. And I'm like, you know, everyone was saying that. I was like, this is like nothing new. Like I think he's everyone's favorite character.
I will say I loved him on like the Sorkin stuff he did. I was just saying to my wife,
he's a great drama actor.
We should rewatch Studio 60, even though I know it's bad. I kind of want to rewatch it.
I like Studio 60. It deserved better. And I loved of his like other comedies. Like I loved Go On. That only lasted a season. I think not a mistake, but like I think if those shows were on cable and not broadcast, they would have lasted longer. Like Go On was a total cable show.
I mean, I feel like a lot of these were ahead of their time. A lot of his like after Friends stuff, I feel like would have been more successful now.
It was great on The Good Wife.
So I like all that. His movies, I gotta say, like you said, 17 again. I definitely saw the whole 9 yards.
The physical comedy that he does in that, impeccable.
Yeah, just they're pretty sad.
I know.
R.I.P. Like, Matthew Perry.
And he like from his memoir, it felt like he was finally in a good place and like you were ready for a second act from him. I mean, if you read his memoir, which is, I think everyone should read it because you just get a whole sense of what he went through. And like he had so many surgeries too. It's not just like he had like 14 surgeries.
He had a lot of health problems, obviously.
Yeah, I kind of feel like his body like maybe just gave out. But anyway, like, you know, he wanted his legacy to help to be that he helped people. And I think he did. And I think, you know, people should read his book. You learn a lot of stuff. There's a lot of fun stories in there too. But yeah, it really did feel like he's in a good place and he was ready to, you know, do more things. And it sucks that it was cut short.
Yeah.
And, you know, I haven't watched that reunion that they did 2 years ago since I first saw it. I still haven't watched it again, but it's going to be sad because like at one point Courtney says in it, you know, like as a joke, like this is the last time we're doing this.
Yeah. Pretty sad. Yeah. I saw clips of that going viral as well. And Tim talking about like how close they were as a cast. I mean, they released like a very short statement. I'm sure they're all very upset.
I know. And just like if you're like an asshole who was demanding reactions from them, like get out of here. Like no public figure is, you know, you're not owed a statement from any public figure to react to a death of their friend who is way more than a friend. So you don't need confirmation of someone's devastation.
No. That's it, Joyce. R.I.P. Matthew Perry. We'll end it there. Very sad. We're ending on a sad note. Next week we'll be back with happier stuff. Maybe I guess we're gonna. I
mean, if you're talking about stuff, I'm rewatching. I've just been rewatching Friends, but I watch Friends every day anyway. So like it's nothing new. I literally watch Friends every day.
Nothing new. Email us at slugfest@goldderby.com. We'll be back next week. We're recording it a little earlier next week, so get your emails in now if you want us to talk about stuff.
It's Chris's fault.
It's my fault. I'm going away, but we're fine. We'll do it at night. We're gonna do a night show. It's gonna be great.
No one would know.
You're gonna know because it's gonna be fucking pitch dark in here.
I mean, like this could easily be at night too, because we're gonna fall back an hour.
It's true. Talk to you later, Joyce. Bye.